First contact under fire. The Meridian Alliance's flagship Eternal Dawn shuddered as another energy blast pierced its shields. High Admiral Zena Valthor steadied herself, her crystalline skin reflecting the emergency lights that bathed the bridge in crimson. The massive vessel, nearly 3 kilometers in length and equipped with the most advanced technology in known space, was bleeding atmosphere from a dozen wounds. "Status report," she demanded, her voice carrying the weight of 4 centuries of command experience. "Void Hunters have breached defensive lines in sectors 3 through 7, her first officer, Commander Ix, reported. The holographic display showed the brutal truth. The Alliance's defensive formation was collapsing. What had started as a routine patrol had turned into a nightmare when the Void Hunters emerged from fold space, their biomechanical ships moving with terrifying synchronization. The Alliance had never encountered anything like them. Their weapons seemed to ignore shield frequencies, their hulls absorbed or reflected energy weapons, and their tactics displayed a hive mind efficiency that made conventional strategy useless. 43 Alliance ships had already fallen. "Admiral," the sensor officer's voice cracked with surprise. "New contact emerging from fold space. It's using primitive fusion drive signatures." Valthor's luminescent eyes narrowed. "Origin. Earth. Admiral. They're broadcasting on all frequencies." The bridge fell silent. Earth, the death world that had achieved faster than light travel barely 2 decades ago. The same primitives whose request to join the Alliance had been denied just 6 months earlier, deemed too aggressive and technologically backward for membership. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the TNS Defiant." A calm voice filled the bridge. "Meridian Alliance Command, we are aware our application for membership was rejected. However, we couldn't help but notice you're having a bad day. Request permission to assist." Valthor's first instinct was to refuse. What could one human vessel do against an enemy that was overwhelming the most advanced fleet in known space? The Defiant appeared on the main display. It was ugly by Alliance standards, a brutal wedge of titanium and carbon composites, bristling with what appeared to be primitive chemical thrusters and projectile weapons. It was less than a quarter the size of the Eternal Dawn. Another blast rocked the flagship. "Admiral, we've lost the Starweaver and the Dawn's Light," Ix reported grimly. "The Void Hunters are pressing their advantage." Valthor made her decision. "Permission granted, Captain Chen. But be warned, these enemies are unlike anything you've encountered." A small laugh came through the comm. "With respect, Admiral, the same could be said about humans." The Defiant's engines flared brilliant blue as it accelerated toward the nearest cluster of Void Hunter vessels. Valthor watched with a mixture of horror and fascination as the human ship seemed to deliberately place itself in the path of the enemy's advance. To all Alliance vessels, Shen broadcast, "We're about to demonstrate why evolving on a death world makes for some interesting tactical innovations. You might want to adjust your sensor filters. Things are about to get messy." The Void Hunters reacted to the new threat, 3 of their dart-shaped ships breaking formation to intercept the Defiant. Valthor had seen this same tactic destroy dozens of Alliance vessels. They would surround their target, overwhelm its defenses with concentrated fire, then tear it apart. But the Defiant did something no Alliance ship would ever attempt. Instead of maintaining a proper combat stance, it cut main engines and fired maneuvering thrusters in a chaotic pattern that sent it tumbling through space like a wounded animal. The Void Hunters, their targeting systems calibrated for the precise movements of Alliance ships, missed with their initial salvos. Then the Defiant's hull split open like a blooming flower of steel, revealing what appeared to be rows upon rows of primitive missiles. Hundreds of them launched simultaneously, creating a sphere of explosive ordnance expanding in all directions. Interesting fact about humans. Chen's voice was almost cheerful. "We never quite gave up on kinetic weapons. Sometimes the old ways work best." The Void Hunters' advanced shields, designed to deflect energy weapons, proved surprisingly vulnerable to the crude physical impacts. The first wave of missiles cratered their biomechanical hulls. The second wave detonated inside those craters, tearing the ships apart from the inside out. Valthor's crystalline skin pulsed with astonishment as she watched the Defiant's primitive weapons tear through ships that had shrugged off the Alliance's most sophisticated armaments. Perhaps, she realized, the Alliance's rejection of Earth's membership had been premature, and this, she suspected, was only the beginning of what humanity had to teach them about warfare. The unconventional solution. Multiple Void Hunter signatures approaching from Vector 317. Lieutenant Park announced from his tactical station aboard the Defiant. They've adapted their shield harmonics. Captain Sarah Chen nodded, having expected this development. The enemy's artificial evolution meant they rarely fell for the same trick twice. She watched the holographic display as 5 biomechanical ships accelerated toward them, their organic hulls pulsing with an eerie bioluminescence. "Engineering, status on the railguns?" she asked. Chief Engineer Rodriguez's voice crackled through the comm. "Ready to go, Captain. Though I still say this is certifiably insane." "Noted, Chief." "Helm, execute pattern Delta. Tactical, prepare for close-range engagement." The Defiant's maneuvering thrusters fired in precisely calculated bursts, sending the ship into a controlled tumble that would appear chaotic to outside observers. Chen had spent years perfecting this technique, inspired by the hunting patterns of Earth's great white sharks. On the Alliance flagship Eternal Dawn, Admiral Valthor watched with growing fascination as the human vessel executed maneuvers that her tactical computers classified as erratic and possibly damaged. But she was beginning to understand there was method in this apparent madness. "Admiral," Commander Ix reported, "the human ship is broadcasting again." Chen's voice filled the bridge. "Admiral, we're about to attempt something unconventional. Request that Alliance vessels maintain their distance. This might get a bit explosive." Before Valthor could respond, the Defiant did something that defied all known principles of space combat. Instead of maintaining a safe engagement distance, it accelerated directly toward the largest Void Hunter vessel. "Contact in 30 seconds, Park announced, his voice steady despite the suicidal nature of their approach. "Engineering. Divert all power to forward shields and the rail gun capacitors," Chen ordered. Time to show them another human innovation. The Void Hunters, perhaps confused by this seemingly self-destructive behavior, adjusted their formation to surround the approaching human ship. Their organic weapons began charging, creating a web of deadly energy that would trap the Defiant. At the last possible moment, Chen gave the order. "Execute." The Defiant's hull plates retracted, revealing not missile tubes this time, but something far more primitive and far more terrifying. Massive electromagnetic rail guns, technology the Alliance had abandoned centuries ago in favor of energy weapons, extended from the ship's flanks. Fire. The rail guns launched their payload, not simple projectiles, but specially designed penetrator rounds filled with a mixture that Rodriguez had cheerfully dubbed stellar hell. The rounds, accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed, struck the Void Hunter's adapted shields. The kinetic energy alone would have been devastating, but it was what happened next that proved truly revolutionary. The penetrator rounds, their casings designed to fragment on impact, scattered their payload across the enemy ship's hulls. The mixture, when exposed to vacuum, underwent an exotic chemical reaction that produced temperatures rivaling a small star. The Void Hunter's biomechanical hulls, designed to resist energy weapons and regenerate from conventional damage, had no defense against this primitive but devastating attack. The chemical fire spread across their surfaces like a solar flare, burning through organic armor and into the ship's vital systems. "Admiral." Chen's voice was calm despite the chaos unfolding around her ship. "I believe we found a weakness in their defensive systems. They've optimized their evolution against energy weapons and conventional explosives, but they've never encountered good old-fashioned chemical warfare." Valthor watched in amazement as the Void Hunter ships writhed in their death throes, their organic components unable to adapt quickly enough to this unexpected form of attack. The humans had accomplished with primitive technology what the Alliance's most advanced weapons could not. Captain Chen. Valthor's voice carried a new note of respect. I believe we need to seriously reevaluate our previous assessment of Earth's technological capabilities. Oh, this isn't about technology, Admiral, Chen replied as the Defiant maneuvered through the debris field it had created. This is about thinking differently. Humans have a long history of turning our limitations into advantages. We couldn't match your energy weapons, so we found another way. The remaining Void Hunters began to retreat, their hive mind apparently recognizing a threat it couldn't quickly adapt to. For the first time since the battle began, Valthor allowed herself to feel a glimmer of hope. Besides, Chen added, we've got plenty more surprises where that came from. The Void Hunters aren't the only ones who can evolve. Trust in steel. The Eternal Dawn's war room hummed with tension as holographic displays showed the Void Hunters regrouping at the system's edge. Admiral Valthor stood with Captain Chen before a tactical projection, their different physiologies creating a stark contrast. Valthor's crystalline form towering over Chen's smaller organic frame. Your chemical weapons bought us time, Valthor acknowledged, but the Void Hunters are already developing countermeasures. Their outer hulls are showing signs of adaptation. Chen studied the sensor data with a predator's focus. Expected. That's why we don't rely on just one trick. She gestured to the display. Notice how they've changed their formation. They're keeping their distance, spreading out to minimize damage from area attacks. They're learning. Then we've lost our advantage, Commander X interjected. No, Chen smiled. They're doing exactly what we want. Lieutenant Park, show them Simulation Delta 7. The holographic display shifted, showing a new tactical overlay. The human officer had overlaid Earth's historical naval warfare data onto the space battle scenarios. The correlation was impossible to miss. On Earth, we spent centuries fighting wars on our oceans, Chen explained. When ships became too vulnerable to one type of attack, we developed others. The Void Hunters are behaving like a naval fleet now, and that's something we understand very well. Valthor's crystalline form pulsed with curiosity. You have a strategy. Better. We have history. Chen manipulated the display, highlighting specific patterns in the enemy formation. See how they're maintaining equal distances. Perfect geometric spacing. That's their weakness. They're thinking like machines, not predators. The human captain pulled up new schematics. Modifications to Alliance vessels that made Valthor's inner light flicker with surprise. The designs were crude by Alliance standards, but their underlying principles were undeniable. We're going to teach your ships to hunt, Chen declared. The Defiant's carrying fabrication templates for what we call depth charges, modified for space warfare, of course. Combined with your energy weapons, they'll create killing zones the Void Hunters can't adapt to fast enough. Engineer Rodriguez's voice came through the comm. Templates are ready for transmission, Captain. Still think this is crazy, but the good kind of crazy. The next hours saw an unprecedented collaboration. Alliance manufacturing systems, designed for elegant energy weapons and quantum field generators, were repurposed to create what Chen called elegant simplicity. Mechanical timers replaced quantum detonators. Chemical propellants supplemented antimatter drives. The Void Hunters attacked again at dawn. Their formations evolved to counter the previous battle's tactics. They encountered something else entirely. Alliance ships, now armed with hybrid weapon systems, moved in patterns derived from Earth's ancient submarine warfare. Like hunting in the depths, Chen commented as she watched Alliance crews adapt to human battle doctrine with surprising speed. They think they're fighting the last battle. They're not ready for this one. The space between stars became an ocean. Alliance ships laid fields of proximity mines disguised by sensor bafflers. Technology considered too primitive to be worth countering. Human-designed depth charges created spheres of disruption that played havoc with the Void Hunters' biological systems. Most importantly, the Alliance crews learned to think differently. They abandoned the geometric precision of their training for the controlled chaos of Earth's naval warfare doctrine. Ships moved like sharks through shoals, striking from unexpected vectors, vanishing into sensor shadows. Remarkable, Valthor observed as another Void Hunter formation broke apart under the combined assault. Your species turned your technological limitations into tactical advantages. That's humanity's real strength, Chen replied, watching as Alliance crews reported success after success. We never forgot our roots. Sometimes the old ways work best, especially when combined with new technology. The battle wasn't over, but something fundamental had changed. The Void Hunters were facing an enemy that fought like nothing they'd encountered before, an enemy that combined primitive savagery with advanced technology in ways their evolutionary algorithms couldn't predict. And in the Eternal Dawn's war room, watching their forces turn the tide, Valthor realized that the Alliance hadn't just gained an ally. They'd found teachers. Echoes of Earth. The Defiance engine room thrummed with power as Chief Engineer Rodriguez made final adjustments to their latest modification. Captain Chen watched as her engineer jury-rigged Alliance quantum sensors to interface with human targeting systems. The Void Hunters are pulling back to regroup, Lieutenant Park reported through the comm. But long-range scans show something different about their biological signatures. They're not just adapting anymore, Chen observed. They're evolving in real time. Each engagement teaches them more about us. She turned to Admiral Valthor, who stood studying the hybrid technology with fascinated unease, which is exactly what we wanted. Valthor's crystalline form flickered. You intentionally showed them your tactics. We showed them what we wanted them to see. Chen gestured to Rodriguez, who pulled up a new tactical display. Every time they adapt, they move further from their original configuration. They're so focused on countering our primitive weapons that they're forgetting their greatest strength, their unity. The display showed the evolution of Void Hunter formations over the past engagements. Their once perfect synchronization had become erratic as individual ships developed different countermeasures to human tactics. On Earth, Chen continued, we learned that specialization is vulnerable. The most successful species weren't the ones that evolved perfect defenses, but the ones that maintained adaptability. The Void Hunters are falling into an evolutionary trap. Rodriguez interrupted, his hands deep in the hybrid systems. Ready for Phase 2, Captain. Though I still think we're crazy for trying this. Noted, Chief. Chen turned to Valthor. Admiral, we're about to attempt something that goes against everything your people believe about advanced technology. We need your trust. The Alliance commander studied Chen for a long moment. You have it. Chen activated the fleet-wide comm. All ships, execute Protocol Prometheus. Timing is critical. Follow your human advisors exactly. Across the battlefield, Alliance ships began powering down their quantum field generators and advanced targeting systems. They switched to backup systems based on human designs, crude but effective technology that operated on principles the Void Hunters had dismissed as obsolete. The enemy fleet, detecting the power fluctuations, launched an immediate attack. Their evolved weapons targeted the Alliance ships' last known technological signatures, seeking weaknesses in quantum shields and energy matrices that no longer existed. Instead, they found vessels running on minimal power, guided by mechanical gyroscopes and optical targeting systems. The Alliance fleet had effectively devolved, becoming technological ghosts that the Void Hunters' advanced sensors struggled to track. Like fighting shadows, Chen murmured as she watched the enemy fleet's coordination deteriorate further. They've spent so long evolving against advanced technology that they've lost the ability to handle basics. The battle shifted into close quarters. Alliance ships, guided by human tactical doctrine, engaged with simple projectile weapons and precisely calculated trajectories. The Void Hunters, their collective intelligence fragmented by competing evolutionary paths, found themselves unable to predict or counter the simplified assault. This is why Earth rejected complete automation, Chen explained to Valthor as they watched the tide turn. We learned that the most powerful systems are the ones that preserve fundamental principles. Your people sought to eliminate the primitive. We chose to embrace it. Valthor's crystalline form pulsed with understanding. You've turned our greatest weakness, our technological dependency, into our salvation. No, Chen corrected. We've shown you that it was never a weakness. True advancement isn't about abandoning the past, it's about building upon it. As if to emphasize her point, the Void Hunters' formation finally broke. Their once unified fleet, now a collection of over-specialized individuals, could no longer maintain coherent tactics. They had evolved themselves into extinction, pushed by human ingenuity to abandon the very traits that had made them formidable. Victory's price. The remnants of the Void Hunter fleet gathered for one final assault. Their biomechanical ships, each now evolved along different paths, formed a chaotic array that bore little resemblance to their original perfect formation. The Defiant sensors detected dozens of different energy signatures as each vessel attempted its own solution to the human problem. They're desperate, Lieutenant Park reported from Tactical. Their hive-mind connection is almost completely degraded. Captain Chen nodded. They've forgotten who they are. Evolution without purpose is just chaos. She turned to Admiral Valthor. Ready for the final phase. The crystalline Admiral's form pulsed with determination. The fleet stands ready, Captain. Though I admit, this plan seems primitive. Chen smiled. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best. All ships, execute final protocol. The Alliance fleet, now a hybrid of advanced technology and human innovation, moved into what ancient Earth navies had called a line of battle. Each ship powered up its remaining quantum weapons while simultaneously preparing their human-designed kinetic systems. The Void Hunters charge, each ship executing its own evolved strategy. Some attempted to counter the primitive weapons, others focused on defeating quantum defenses. None were prepared for both. Like fighting 100 different enemies instead of one fleet, Chen observed. They've lost their greatest strength, unity. The battle was brutal but decisive. Alliance ships alternated between energy weapons and kinetic strikes, never presenting the same profile twice. The Void Hunters, their collective intelligence shattered by competing evolutionary paths, couldn't adapt fast enough to counter both ancient and modern warfare simultaneously. Engineering to bridge. Rodriguez's voice crackled through the comm. The hybrid systems are holding, but we're pushing them to the limit. Understood, Chief. One last push. The Defiant led the charge, demonstrating why humanity had survived on their death world. They combined the precision of modern technology with the savagery of their evolutionary heritage. Each shot, whether quantum lance or railgun round, struck with calculated fury. Valthor watched in amazement as the human ship danced through the chaos, its movements unpredictable yet purposeful. Your species, she observed, never forgot how to fight like survivors. We never forgot who we are. Chen corrected as she ordered another volley. Technology should enhance our nature, not replace it. The final Void Hunter vessels, their biomechanical forms twisted by desperate evolution, fought to the end. But they fought alone, each following its own path to extinction. The once mighty swarm died not as a unified force, but as individuals who had lost their way. In the battle's aftermath, Valthor stood on the Defiance bridge, watching as human engineers helped Alliance crews integrate their hybrid modifications permanently. The Alliance Council will want to reconsider Earth's application, she stated. Chen shook her head. That's not why we came. We saw allies in need and responded. Simple as that. Nothing about your species is simple, Captain Chen. You've taught us that evolution isn't just about advancing. It's about remembering where you came from. That's humanity's gift to the stars. Chen agreed, watching Alliance and human crews working together. We'll help you remember what your ancestors knew. True strength lies not in abandoning the primitive, but in embracing all that you are. The stars bore witness to a new kind of evolution that day, not of technology or biology, but of understanding. The Alliance had rediscovered its roots, and humanity had proven that the path forward sometimes requires a step back. As the Defiant prepared to return home, Valthor made one final observation. "You never intended to join the Alliance as subordinates, did you?" "No," Chen smiled. "We came as teachers. The galaxy's about to remember what it means to be truly alive." The human ship departed, leaving behind a changed alliance, one that had learned that advancement without wisdom is just another path to extinction. They had rediscovered something ancient and powerful, the warrior spirit that had driven their ancestors to reach for the stars. The Void Hunters would return one day, but they would face a galaxy that remembered how to fight with both mind and spirit, technology and instinct, future and past combined. And at the forefront would be humanity, the primitive species that had taught the stars how to survive.